Story 1. Waiting for the river to dry. A lesson in finding joy in the present. Once upon a time, by the side of a gently flowing river, there sat an old beggar. He appeared deep in thought, gazing at the water as it moved steadily downstream. His clothes were worn, his face weathered, but there was a quiet wisdom about him as he sat there. A passerby, curious about the beggar's stillness, approached him. The man asked, "What are you doing, sitting here all alone by the river?" The beggar looked up with a calm smile and replied, "I am waiting for the river to dry up so that I can cross to the other side." The man laughed in disbelief. "That's impossible! The river will never dry up. If you wait for that, you'll never be able to cross." The beggar, still smiling, nodded. "Yes, my friend, I know the river will never stop flowing, just as life never stops moving forward. But I am not truly waiting for the river to dry up. What I'm trying to show is how people live their lives constantly waiting for the right moment to be happy. They say, once all my responsibilities are finished, then I will enjoy life. Once my work is done, then I will relax, travel, spend time with loved ones, serve others. But they don't realize that this perfect moment may never come." The man, intrigued, sat down beside the beggar, eager to learn more. The beggar continued, "People often speak as if one day all their burdens will be lifted. Only then, they say, will they allow themselves to find peace and happiness. But life doesn't work that way. Just as this river keeps flowing without pause, so too do our responsibilities. There is always something to be done, another task, another duty. If we keep waiting for everything to be perfect before we enjoy life, we may spend our whole lives waiting and never truly live." The man began to reflect. He thought about his own life, how he'd always postponed happiness, telling himself he would find time later. "After my work is done," he had told himself, "after this deadline, after the kids grow up, after I retire." But now, sitting by the river, he realized something. His responsibilities never really ended. There was always something more to do. The beggar looked at him kindly. "Buddha taught us that the present moment is precious. It is all we truly have. If we keep waiting for the perfect moment, for the river to stop flowing, we will miss the beauty and joy that exists right here, right now." We must learn to carry our responsibilities as we move through life, but not let them weigh us down so much that we forget to live. Don't wait until every task is complete before you allow yourself to be happy. The man nodded. He understood now. But he asked, how do we do this? How do we balance our duties with the desire to enjoy life? The beggar smiled warmly. The key lies in recognizing that happiness is not something we must wait for. It is something we can find in the small moments of our everyday lives, even while we fulfill our responsibilities. Just as this river flows continuously, so must we keep moving, but with mindfulness. Instead of waiting for a distant day when all is done, we must seek joy in the present moment, in a conversation with a friend, in the laughter of a child, in the beauty of the world around us. We must serve, work, and fulfill our duties, but not at the cost of our happiness. Life is a delicate balance. We must learn to carry our responsibilities lightly. The man listened carefully. He realized how often he had put off happiness, waiting for a time when life would be free of burdens. But now he saw the truth. That time might never come. He had been living as if one day the river of life would stop flowing, and only then could he cross to the other side and find joy. But the beggar's wisdom showed him a different way. He didn't need to wait. He could find peace and happiness right where he was, even as he fulfilled his responsibilities. The beggar finished by saying, "Our lives are short, my friend. One day, our time here will end. but the river of life will keep flowing. Our tasks and duties may never fully disappear. But that should not stop us from living fully. If we wait for the perfect moment to be happy, we may wait forever. Instead, we must learn to walk through life with joy, balancing our responsibilities with moments of laughter, love, and peace. That is the true path to happiness. The man thanked the beggar for his wisdom. He went on his way, his heart lighter, his mind clearer. He no longer saw his responsibilities as barriers to happiness, but as companions on his journey through life. And from that day on, he found joy in the small moments, knowing he didn't have to wait for the river to dry up to live a happy, fulfilling life. The beggar remained by the river, a gentle reminder to all who passed by. Life's responsibilities are constant, but so too is the opportunity for happiness. The lesson rooted in Buddha's teachings was clear. Do not wait for the burdens of life to end before you live fully. Happiness is found not in the absence of duties, but in the way we carry them along the path of life. Story 2. The Real Riches. A lesson in detachment and true wealth. In a quiet village nestled between mountains and trees lived a wise man, known not for riches, but for his radiant peace. People from far and wide came to him for advice, for healing, for words that touched the soul. One day, a wealthy merchant visited. His robes shimmered with gold threads, his hands adorned with rings. He stepped down from a grand chariot pulled by white horses. He approached the wise man with pride. "Old man," he said, "I have everything one could ever desire. Mansions, servants, silk, spices, even lands that stretch beyond what the eye can see." The wise man smiled gently. "And yet," the merchant continued, "I cannot sleep. I am always anxious, afraid of losing what I have. My heart races when gold drops in value. My mind trembles when thieves come close." "Why?" he asked. "Why do I feel so poor, despite having everything?" The wise man stood. He picked up a small clay cup filled with water. "Hold this," he said. The merchant took the fragile cup in his jeweled hands. Then the wise man whispered, "Now walk, but don't spill a single drop." The merchant looked confused but obeyed. He walked slowly, carefully, his eyes locked on the cup, tension tightening every muscle. When he returned, not a drop spilled. He sighed in relief. The wise man asked, "Did you see the blooming flowers on your path? The dancing butterflies? The soft clouds passing overhead?" "No," the merchant said. "I was too focused on the cup." The wise man nodded. "That," he said, pointing to the cup, "is your wealth. You hold it with fear so tightly that you miss the beauty of life. You're not rich," he said softly. "You're imprisoned. True wealth isn't what you carry in your hands, but the freedom you carry in your heart." The merchant stood silent. His gold now felt heavy, his jewels like chains. And for the first time, he bowed deeply, not in pride, but in humility. From that day forward, he still had riches, but they no longer had him. He gave freely, laughed openly, slept peacefully, because he had discovered the real riches. Story 3. The Empty Boat. A lesson in ego and inner peace. A monk once lived by a peaceful lake, deep within the mountains. Each morning, he meditated under the rising sun, as soft ripples danced upon the still water. He had one simple joy: to row his small boat into the middle of the lake and sit in silence, letting the calm wash over his spirit. It was in this silence that he felt closest to truth, closest to himself, closest to the universe. One misty morning, as the fog floated over the water, the monk sat with eyes closed, breathing in stillness. Suddenly, thud! Another boat had crashed into his. The monk's eyes snapped open. Annoyance bubbled inside him. Who would be so careless, he thought. His peace shattered. He turned swiftly, ready to scold, but paused. There was no one in the other boat. It was empty, just drifting with the current. In that instant, something profound awakened within him. If this boat were not empty, he thought, my anger would have found a target. But because it is empty, I see that my anger comes not from outside, but from within. From that day forward, the monk began to understand a deeper truth. The world is filled with empty boats. People will bump into us, hurt us, interrupt our peace. Not always with intention, not always with awareness. Yet we react as if every act is personal, as if every bump deserves blame. But what if we saw them all as empty boats? What if we let go of the need to control, to defend, to carry the weight of ego? Years passed. The monk became known for his serenity. No insult could disturb him. No chaos could shake him. When asked his secret, he smiled and said, I simply remember to see the boat as empty. A lesson simple but eternal. Peace begins not by changing the world, but by mastering the storm within. Story 4. The Diamond in the Mud. A tale of hidden worth. In a quiet village nestled among the hills, a young boy wandered through the edge of a forest, barefoot, playful, his eyes scanning the ground for anything shiny or strange. He kicked at stones, laughed at ants, and let the wind tangle his hair. Suddenly, his foot struck something hard, half buried in thick, sticky mud. He stopped, bent down, and saw a dull brown lump, coated in grime. Curious, he picked it up, rubbing it on his clothes, then with his hands. But it only smeared more. He frowned. Just another useless rock, he thought. He tossed it aside and ran off chasing butterflies. Hours later, an old man came walking the same path, wise, weathered, eyes that had seen many truths. He spotted the same object now lying exposed. He knelt down slowly and picked it up. His eyes widened. He did not see dirt. He saw beyond it. He took the rock to a stream, gently washed it, layer by layer, and there beneath all the mud, a radiant, flawless diamond sparkled in his palm. The old man smiled softly. Even the greatest treasures, he whispered, can be mistaken for nothing if one does not look deep enough. Word spread through the village. Everyone was stunned. The boy returned, shocked to discover what he had thrown away, his eyes now filled with regret. If only I had cleaned it. If only I had looked a little closer. This story became legend, not just because of the diamond, but because of what it revealed. So many of us judge others and ourselves based on the surface. We see the mud, but miss the brilliance beneath. We discard people or doubt our own worth, all because the light is hidden under years of dirt, pain, or misunderstanding. But truth remains. A diamond does not lose its value just because it's buried in mud. Its worth is not defined by appearance, but by essence. So next time you feel overlooked or feel like giving up on someone else, remember you may be holding a diamond in your hands. It only takes patience, love, and clear eyes to see it shine. Story 5. The Two Arrows. A lesson in emotional suffering. One quiet evening, a monk sat with his disciples under the banyan tree. The wind whispered through the leaves, and the golden glow of dusk bathed everything in stillness. A young disciple looked troubled. His brow was furrowed, his thoughts tangled. The monk noticed. He smiled gently and asked, "What burdens your heart, my child?" The disciple replied, "Master, why is it that when something bad happens, the pain seems to linger? Even after it's over, I keep suffering inside." The monk closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them and began his teaching. Imagine, the monk said, that you are walking in the forest and suddenly an arrow strikes you. The disciple flinched at the thought. Yes, the monk nodded. It hurts. The wound bleeds. That is the first arrow, hope. The pain that life brings unexpectedly. But now, the monk leaned in. What if, after being struck by the first arrow, you pick up another one and stab yourself again? The disciple's eyes widened. Why would I do that? He asked. The monk's voice softened. We do this every day. The first arrow is what happens to us. The second arrow is how we react to it. We replay the event. We blame. We regret. We ask, why me? We feed the wound, and that second arrow hurts even more than the first. The disciple sat still, absorbing every word. So suffering is not just pain, he whispered. It's the story we tell ourselves about pain. The monk smiled. You're learning. Pain is inevitable, he said. But suffering is a choice. When life wounds us, we can accept it, breathe through it, and let it heal. Or we can twist the arrow, nurture the ache, and make it grow. You may lose something. You may be betrayed. You may fail. These are the first arrows. They will find everyone. But if you keep reliving the hurt, blaming others, hating yourself, or fearing tomorrow, those are your second arrows. And those you can stop. Let go of the second arrow. Forgive, feel, and release. True peace begins not when life stops hurting, but when you stop hurting yourself with your thoughts. Story 6, The Guest House. A poem of acceptance by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a sadness, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Yes, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The poet Rumi wrote these lines over 700 years ago. But they still breathe with truth and tenderness. Imagine your heart as a house with open doors. Each morning you don't know who will knock. Sometimes laughter arrives with dancing feet and stories full of sunshine. Sometimes anger storms in, slamming the doors, scattering everything in its path. Other times grief enters quietly, sits in the corner, and weeps without a word. But each visitor, whether sweet or stormy, comes with a message. They are not here to destroy you. They are here to shape you, to teach you, to stretch your soul. So don't resist them. Don't pretend your house is always clean. Don't shut the door on pain or lock joy out of fear. It won't last. Let them in. Offer them tea. Sit with them. Listen. This is the path of awareness. To see each emotion as a guest, not as a permanent resident. To know that they come and go. They rise and fall. Like waves, like seasons, like breath. Your joy is not forever. Neither is your sorrow. So do not cling. Do not run. Just receive. Be the host who opens the door. Without judgment, without shame, without fear. And in doing so, you become more spacious, more compassionate, more alive. Because every guest, even the darkest one, leaves behind a gift. Sometimes you won't see it right away, but it's there. A new strength, a quiet wisdom, a deeper love. So remember, this being human is a guest house. Every emotion is just passing through. Open the door, bow to each one, and let your soul become a place where everything belongs. Story 7. The Empty Cup. A lesson in humility and learning. A long time ago, a respected scholar traveled far to meet a Zen master. He was proud of his knowledge, well-read, highly regarded, filled with theories, books, and ideas. He wanted to learn about Zen. So he sat across from the master, eager to take in new wisdom. He spoke at length about his experiences, his achievements, and everything he had already learned. The Zen master listened quietly without interrupting. Then he offered to pour tea. He brought out a simple teapot and began to fill the scholar's cup. Slowly, calmly. But even as the tea reached the rim, the master kept pouring. The hot tea overflowed, spilling over the sides of the cup onto the table, and finally onto the scholar's lap. "Stop!" the scholar shouted. "It's full! No more will go in!" The Zen master paused, looked up, and said, "Exactly. You are like this cup, so full of your own opinions, your own knowledge, that nothing new can enter. If you want to learn Zen, you must first empty your cup." This simple story holds a powerful truth. How often do we enter a space, a conversation, a classroom, a relationship, believing we already know? How often do we listen, not to understand, but to reply? We carry our egos like overfilled cups. We resist unfamiliar ideas because they challenge what we already believe. But true learning requires humility. To grow, you must become open, receptive, like an empty vessel. Imagine walking into the world without needing to be right, without the pressure to prove anything. Just curious, just aware, just present. That's what the master taught. That wisdom is not about gathering more, it's about letting go, making space. Only when the cup is empty can it be filled again. Only when the mind is still can it reflect clearly. Only when the ego softens can truth find its way in. So the next time you feel resistance, ask yourself, am I full of assumptions? Am I open to truly listen? Can I empty my cup? Because in that emptiness, there is room for insight, for growth, for transformation. Be like the empty cup, not lacking, not broken, but ready. Ready to receive the unexpected wisdom the world has to offer. Story 8. Let go of the rope. The illusion of control. Once upon a time, two friends were walking along a narrow mountain path. Suddenly, they came across a raging river blocking their way. The only way across was a thin, old rope bridge swinging over the wild water below. One friend stepped onto the bridge, holding tightly to the ropes on each side. The wind howled. The bridge creaked. The river roared. Suddenly, the ropes began to fray. One of the ropes snapped. Panic surged through the friend's heart. He gripped the remaining rope tightly, terrified of falling. The other friend watched quietly, then said softly, "Let go of the rope." "What?" The first friend gasped. "How can I let go? I'll fall. Trust me." The second friend said calmly, "Let go and you'll be safe." The first friend hesitated, heart pounding. Then, slowly, he released the rope. To his surprise, he didn't fall. Instead, he felt himself gently lowering onto a hidden platform. A sturdy, safe ledge just beneath the bridge. He looked up, and the second friend smiled down at him. The lesson was clear. In life, we often hold on tightly to things we think keep us safe. Control, expectations, resentments, fears. But sometimes, clinging only puts us in greater danger. True safety and peace come not from gripping tighter, but from letting go. Letting go of control does not mean giving up. It means trusting the flow of life. Trusting that support exists, even if unseen. Like the friend on the rope bridge, we must have courage to release our grip, to surrender our fear. Only then can we find calm amidst chaos. Only then can we discover the hidden ledges that hold us steady. Remember, the tighter you hold the rope, the more it may break. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to let go. Long ago, a teacher sat with his students beneath a full moon. The night was still, the sky clear and deep. The teacher raised his hand and pointed toward the bright, glowing moon. "Look at the moon," he said softly. Do not look at my finger. The students gazed up, following his finger to the luminous orb. The teacher smiled and continued. My finger is only a guide, a tool to help you see. But if you stare at my finger, you will miss the true light. This story teaches us an important lesson. In life, there are many guides, teachings, and tools. Books, mentors, rituals, and words, all pointers toward truth. But they are not the truth itself. They are like the finger, pointing to the moon. If we become attached to the guides or mistake the tools for the goal, we lose sight of the real destination. The moon represents awakening, understanding, freedom, and inner peace. Our spiritual path or any journey of growth is about moving closer to the moon. But sometimes we get stuck on the finger. The methods, the labels, the external forms. True wisdom comes when we look beyond the finger and connect with the light itself. So remember, follow the teachings, learn from the guides, but always keep your eyes on the moon, the true essence that shines within and beyond. Only then will your journey lead you to clarity, joy, and liberation. Story 9. The finger pointing at the moon. Understanding the path versus the destination. Long ago, a teacher sat with his students beneath a full moon. The night was still, the sky clear and deep. The teacher raised his hand and pointed toward the bright, glowing moon. Look at the moon, he said softly. Do not look at my finger. The students gazed up, following his finger to the luminous orb. The teacher smiled and continued. My finger is only a guide, a tool to help you see. But if you stare at my finger, you will miss the true light. This story teaches us an important lesson. In life, there are many guides, teachings, and tools. Books, mentors, rituals, and words, all pointers toward truth. But they are not the truth itself. They are like the finger, pointing to the moon. If we become attached to the guides or mistake the tools for the goal, we lose sight of the real destination. The moon represents awakening, understanding, freedom, and inner peace. Our spiritual path or any journey of growth is about moving closer to the moon. But sometimes we get stuck on the finger. The methods, the labels, the external forms. True wisdom comes when we look beyond the finger and connect with the light itself. So remember, follow the teachings, learn from the guides, but always keep your eyes on the moon, the true essence that shines within and beyond. Only then will your journey lead you to clarity, joy, and liberation. Conclusion. Life is a journey of seeing clearly. The tools we use are meant to point us to truth, not become chains that bind us. Let go of attachments to forms and open your heart to the essence beyond. When you do, you will find peace, not in the guides, but in the light of your own awakening.
ThriveX, where growth begins. Don't miss out. Hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell icon to stay inspired. Together, we'll unlock your full potential.